You're now listening to The Couch on 24/7 Miami with your hosts, Chubby Dubby, Clem December,
Baby Clem. December, it's Clem time.
and your boy Coleman.
Coleman, I had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me.
Let's go.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Okay.
Welcome back to the couch. It is, excuse me, Tuesday, December 12th, something like that. And we are fresh off of a huge Dolphins win. They beat the New England Patriots, as most people who are probably listening to the show probably already know.
Welcome to The Couch, by the way. We are broadcasting live on 247miami.tv. Link for the upload if you'd like to watch the simulcast on YouTube. That is The Couch_Miami.
Miami forward.
One of those.
So yes, welcome to the couch. Matt Coleman here. Manny is not here again, unfortunately. Anyways, the Dolphins did indeed keep their playoff hopes alive by beating the Patriots. I did see on like 538. Did you see that tweet from them? I saw something that if the Dolphins win out and finish 9-7, they should make the playoffs. I guess it has to do with like the Chiefs and the Raiders having to play each other again. And so,
I mean,
they completed the first step. Like Aaron Rodgers says, they're going to make the playoffs according to 538.
Okay. And I did see the little graphic that they put up last night about how they were technically still in the hunt. What are they now? 6-7. They're in the hunt.
6-7, and there's the 6th seed is 7-6.
Yeah.
And there's only like two teams ahead of them.
I believe that it's entirely counterproductive to be wishing for success on this season, only to lose to the Steelers. Or it's not going to be the Steelers this time because they're probably going to get a first-round bye. But they're not. This is not a playoff team.
But it's fun to win.
And I agree. And last night was a fun game.
I like when the Dolphins win.
Especially if they beat Tom Brady.
Yes.
But I also,
But we already have 6 wins now. I mean, we're not going to be in the top 8.
Yeah. Game. They were I saw another thing. I don't know who exactly it was that tweeted it out, but it was like the win percentage of what the win percentages was for every single one of their games. And they said that there was like less than a 1% chance that they would have lost all the games so far. Probability of all of those games, like having 48, 47 chance win percentile before the game starts.
Right.
Basically based on analytics. And they said that there was less than a 1% chance that they could have lost all those games so far.
The Browns are breaking science.
Yeah.
They are breaking. We are worse than that.
They said that it's almost as if they are doing it on purpose.
Right.
And if you look at the way that the Browns have behaved, where it's like, Deshaun Kaiser, extremely short leash. Like there was a 7-game stretch there where he would start the game and like very shortly into the game, it would be like, oh, nope, you get out of there, throw the other guy in. I don't even know who it is.
Yeah. And speaking of the Browns, it is absolutely incredible that Josh Gordon just looks, after not playing football for almost 3 full seasons.
Yeah.
He just jumps in there without missing a beat. He has like in his first 2 games. So that's incredible. Also that after 3 years, they're like still like, yes, Josh Gordon, we will take you back.
Yeah.
You will start immediately for us. And so that does say something about the Browns that he comes in and just immediately he's the best player on their team. 3 years, he is the best thing that the Browns have right now.
He's pretty much the only thing. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser, he looked good.
And by the way, that kind of also I just want to mention like taking like workouts and training very seriously while he was not in the league.
He still looks. I mean, he looks really good.
Yeah,
like physically wise. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hitting on him or anything, but like he's specimen of a human.
He's like that. Games like once in a lifetime type athlete.
Yeah. So I'm glad for him. I've been rooting for him ever since. Where did he play? At Baylor with Robert Griffith, I think. And then ever since he was drafted with the Browns, and then you saw him sort of like and it was like, oh, this doesn't look like it's going to go too well, and you know what I mean. Like, but I'm glad that he, was over a plant. I mean,
well, and he had drinking problems.
Yeah,
which
that's true. Actually, yeah, I did read that. That came out.
And he's not like hard drug problem,
right?
But it is a problem when he talks about how he would be drunk before games.
Yeah.
So that was definitely an issue, and so if he actually turned over a new leaf. Yeah, leaf. If he actually did that, still going to be really good at football, then that's awesome.
Yeah, agreed. And we kind of got derailed a little bit on the Dolphins and the Patriots.
Right.
I think that the Patriots, like, let's be honest here. You think they're really trying all that hard?
I think they're trying, because they need that first place. I mean, not that they can't go into Pittsburgh and win, but wouldn't you love to just be at home for every playoff game?
Hear me out a little bit, okay?
They still have to go play Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Okay, so that's part of it. So Rob Gronkowski was suspended. He's a very key component of their offense and what they like to do. Even though Marty B went back, it's not exactly the same thing.
Right.
Gronkowski is tight end of all time when he retires. Doubt about it. He's going to have the most touchdowns, the most receptions by far. You don't want to get Tom Brady hurt. You don't want to reveal too much. And you know that you have Gronk, so it's going to be a battle. It's in Miami. They're wearing the throwbacks. It's, you know what I mean? Like, Bill was probably pretty easy in practice. Like, we'll try to win, but if things don't go our way, it's not a big deal because guess what? Next week, we get to play Pittsburgh. Next week, we play Pittsburgh anyways. So if we beat them next week in a head-to-head, then we take over as the number 1 seed, and then we just win the rest of our games, and we'll be fine.
Right.
It's a simple plan.
No, you're right. And also, you say this week in Dolphins preparation was probably also 40% Steelers preparation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but you know what? It is a win. And hey, look. Here's the thing.
Scoreboard.
Listen, here's the thing about your thing with not wanting to win. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. If you make the playoffs, anything can happen. Defense starts playing really good. Jay Cutler gets hot. Got hot and won a Super Bowl. What is it, 4 or 5 years later now? People legitimately are looking back and saying, yeah, Flacco's not that good.
Yeah.
He just got hot in the playoffs.
Right.
So that kind of thing can happen. And also, I want to watch the Dolphins in the playoffs. So I'm an anything can happen guy.
I agree with you. And I don't like to be the negative Nancy, you know what I mean? But it's.
So if you want to be bad, you want a top 5 pick. And
that's what I'm saying.
Not going to happen.
And it's not going to happen at this point. So it really doesn't. I'm not actively rooting for them to lose games. I'm just like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a little apathetic because of what they've shown me when they have made it to the playoffs the last 2 times. Last year it was the Steelers. They got rocked. The time before that, they ended Chad Pennington's career when they played the Ravens.
The Ravens, yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, we haven't.
And then before that was the Jaguars. The
playoffs haven't bode very well for us in a while.
But it's nice to make it.
And
even if it's a snowball chance in hell that they're going to.
And hey, look, if you make the playoffs, all of a sudden, Gase has made the playoffs in his first 2 years as a coach, and that's momentum moving forward.
And if you like Adam Gase, then you obviously want him to have success. You don't want him to fail. I don't think that anybody after 2 years should have any sort of decision made on like whether they're a success or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
But people are reactive.
And wins keep you off the hot seat.
Right. And
which is good. Want your coach on the hot seat.
The fan base, the local media. You know what I mean? Like, then it's going to sound. People will be calling for his job at some point. Certain people will.
Right. Okay. So now we'll go around the league here for a little bit. And there was quite a spectacle in Buffalo.
That was quite the spectacle. Personally, do not like being snow or that cold of weather.
I wouldn't have been there.
It was one of the most enjoyable, low-scoring games to watch that I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Right. You had, 50-year-old Frank Gore toting it 36 times.
Yeah.
And even LaShawn McCoy carried it 32 times. I noticed
a career high.
Nathan Peterson only threw it 10 times, which you expect.
He got hurt,
and then
though.
the Vinatieri extra point, where was there a penalty that pushed him back?
I forget.
3-yard PAT, and I think there was
there had to be something.
Must have been unsportsmanlike on what I heard maybe, but then everyone's out there kicking snow.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Did you notice that when if a quarterback ever threw a pass and it went incomplete, normally they sort of ricochet around on the ground like balls do? It's 2 feet of snow, so it just stops.
Yeah, and people are diving for balls and then they just disappear.
Yeah.
So that was incredible.
That was pretty cool. I have no idea what the score was. I know Buffalo won in overtime when LaShawn McCoy ran for a touchdown, but I don't know what the score was, and I don't care.
13-7.
Sure, something like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't the story there. It was the snow.
The snow.
Haven't seen a game like that since LaShawn McCoy was also involved for the Eagles-Lions. Remember that maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The story this week was really cool. You had Vikings, Panthers, Falcons, Saints, Eagles, Rams, and Jags, Seahawks, and we saw a lot of different. I didn't have the Panthers beating the Vikings. They beat the Vikings.
It got sort of close towards the end there, but I mean that was the Vikings didn't look like they could get very much going on offense at all.
And then so in that NFC South, the Panthers have caught the Saints. They're both 9-4. However many games they've played. And then the Falcons are only 1 game back, so that will get very interesting. Saints, that was Thursday. Saints won that game.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
No, Falcons won. That's right.
Won.
That's why. Yeah. Any reactions to the NFC South right now?
I'm a Panthers fan. We discussed this on the show when they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and one of the things that was said was, I believe it was Manny was saying that, was oh, don't worry about it. Cam Newton will get back to the Super Bowl, and I was like, I don't know. You never know. Dan Marino wishes that, that would have been true. You'll get back to it. Don't worry about it. No big deal. You know what I mean?
They're in his second year.
Right. I think that. And I didn't know necessarily at the time that they made the trade of Kelvin Benjamin, because I've been, a Kelvin Benjamin fan. Maybe it was the right move because you focus less time on trying to get him the ball. And now Devin Funchess is emerging as a wide receiver that you can depend on. Greg Olsen, and the offense has somehow started to click.
Right. And now they get him back.
Right.
And also with the Kelvin Benjamin trade, they had a second-round rookie, Curtis Samuels, who was starting to look really good, but
until
then he got
went
hurt.
Right.
That division, they could all make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So Saints or Panthers, whoever doesn't win the division, pretty much, I think they have a 2-game lead on 7th place. For the 5th wild card, and then Falcons.
We've seen it happen before, where 3 teams have made it.
The Falcons could get in there, and something that will help the Falcons is that the Rams and the Seahawks lost.
Yeah.
So Jags look good. Jags are now also 9-4,
which is crazy.
Especially
being
Bortles is actually,
not throwing interceptions,
scoring points, looking like a top 5 quarterback. That defense, everyone has seen it all year. That defense is really, really good.
A defense, I think the defense and Blake Bortles not being a disaster is really the key. You talk about if you're
Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette as well. But that also relying on Leonard Fournette means that have to do so much. She doesn't have to throw the ball as much as they did when they didn't have a decent run game with TJ Yeldon and whoever else is that they were trying to rotate in and out of there. Did you see at the end of the game, or maybe it wasn't at the end, I didn't see exactly where it happened, but a Seahawk was ejected from the game fans decided that they were going to start throwing, bottles and food at him, and he decided that he wanted to go up into the stands.
Yeah, luckily for the fans,
Quentin Richardson didn't make it
yeah,
up into
there was
there.
a large man there grabbing him by the shoulder pads to make sure that didn't happen. That would have gotten very ugly if he actually went into the stands with real malicious intent.
Yeah.
That could have gotten bad.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, we've seen the Malice at the Palace. We've seen things like this happen before, but not a person the size of this human being.
Right.
Quentin Richardson is a big boy.
It ended up harmless because he didn't get up there. So I say no harm, no foul. He didn't go up there. I say he's okay because people can't be throwing stuff at these guys.
And so I don't know necessarily what the ramifications would be for him, but if he had made it into the stands and got a hold of whoever it was that chucked the bottle at his head, like, that person deserves it. Like,
that guy got ejected from the game.
Yeah, and he's probably banned for life and whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if you can't cash checks that you can't write checks that your butt can't cash. Don't go throwing bottles at large human beings unless you expect for them to retaliate.
Right.
Is basically my point there.
Right.
All you want to, don't say anything too bad. Like, let's not get into like racial epithets, but like it's heckling. You know what I mean?
Can heckle. I've been honored for heckling one time. Actually, I heckled the Atlanta Braves bullpen and someone threw me a ball.
Nice.
So, but good, clean fun.
Nice.
And I didn't throw anything at them.
Right.
Jags definitely pretty much. I don't think anyone in the AFC. Well, the Titans are still hanging around.
Yeah. I think I think that they're tied, but I think that the Titans might have the first head-to-head. That's the case because as of the standings that I was looking at yesterday during the Dolphins game showed that the Jags were in the wild card.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up.
There's some kind of tiebreaker. We don't have to. Let's not, bring the show to a grinding halt to find out if the Jaguars are a wild card team or not. It's okay.
Jacksonville's in the 3 seed right now.
Okay.
Tennessee's in the wild card. Yeah.
Over the year. I don't know exactly what happened.
I don't know what that was. So Jacksonville looks good, and then Tennessee's hanging in there, but I think Jacksonville will probably separate themselves.
Probably. Yeah. One big thing that did happen in Eagles-Rams.
Probably, yeah.
Eagles-Rams, Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Torn ACL.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That's a real bummer.
I guess the only hope you can try to give Eagles fans is that Nick Foles has once upon a time looked like a good quarterback. He set the NFL record for most passing touchdowns before his first interception.
Yeah. And he finished that season. He
finished at least 27-2.
27-2, which is insanity.
Brady doesn't do that.
Right. But it didn't see how things shaked out there. But I think wasn't Chip Kelly trying to trade him, or did they trade him?
Did trade him to LA
and then he somehow
Seattle Rams.
Okay.
And just foddered out the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah.
One of those teams. AFL team.
But he
Nick Foles is very old.
The Seattle Supersonics. But so he ended up back with the Eagles, and I mean, he looked serviceable in the game for the 4 throws that he had. I mean, he wasn't a total disaster, but we'll see, because going into that game, the Eagles were a huge favorite, I think, in the NFC.
Right. And remember that Nick Foles to Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
The dark hole for quarterbacks.
Yes.
And now he's
Nick Foles, Case Keenum. Who else? There's another one. Jared Goff. 3 quarterbacks who have shown potential, except when they're being coached. So what did we say last week was the rule?
Fisher, if you want to be successful in the NFL. Doug Peterson has proven to be a guy who can get a lot out of his quarterback. So is this his first year in Philly?
I think so.
So
it's either the first or the second.
Yeah, and if it's his second, then what I'm saying doesn't hold so much salt. But I'll say that.
That's okay. You can hold the salt.
So Doug Peterson knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. So here we'll see. Maybe he's ready to go. That defense is still going to be really good. Alshon Jeffries is still good. Nelson Aguilar is still good.
Yeah.
The running game is still good.
If Ertz can come back, you know what I mean? Like that's if you're serviceable at all, there's a lot of weapons in there for you to play with.
Especially, in the AFC. In the AFC, it's like Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
In the NFC, Breeze has won and Russell Wilson has won, but I feel like in the NFC team, you can beat those quarterbacks.
Yeah, and there's the NFC is so wide open that like we don't know exactly who's going to make it from there, who's going to be the
we don't even
representative.
know who's going to be in the playoffs.
For the AFC, it's like, well, is it going to be the Steelers or the Patriots?
Like if the Rams win the division, Seahawks may not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we don't even know. But yeah, so the Eagles, and I'm not saying Nick Foles, but the Eagles might still be okay.
We'll see. Let's take a little break, and then when we come back, we will get into some other stories about other sports-related stuff.
We'll be right back on the couch, just in time for you to get a cold one.
Welcome back from our regularly scheduled break. We are broadcasting live from the beautiful campus of casting here in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting for all your Connecticut School of Broadcasting needs. Broadcasting. That's a free plug. They didn't pay me to do that.
They don't pay us.
It was professional.
Yeah.
Nobody pays us to do this.
Pro bono.
Yeah, we're here for you, the audience, the listener, real audience. Up next, we're going to get into a little quick hits.
All right. That is right. Welcome to
a very unique segment.
Yes, very unique to all the other stuff we do around here, around different topics. First one we're going to start with is Ball Brothers, the polarizing Ball Brothers. the two Ball brothers who aren't in the NBA. And
Correct.
so what's happened with them is, so in recent weeks, pulled LiAngelo out of UCLA, saying he'll get him ready for the NBA draft on his own.
He's going to train him himself.
A few months ago, he pulled LaMelo out of high school, which is a move that, anyways,
It's a little bit questionable judgment, but
the kid's kind of like too famous to even walk around high school anymore. You'd imagine, right?
I mean,
He's
I
got
guess.
millions of Instagram followers. People probably flock to him when he's walking around campus.
Yeah, but so like famous kids that go to high school, like
Dude.
actors or actresses.
Did like the Olsen twins go to public high school?
I don't know. There's private high schools. I went to a private high school.
You have millions and millions of followers and a TV show about your family on Facebook.
How do you know that?
I don't know that, but I will go out on that limb. So they're neither of them in school now. LaMelo's still only 17 years old. He was only a junior. LeVar, I'm pretty sure, because he's the puppet master pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And he's been saying that they're gonna play ball together. These kids are gonna play ball together. So to get his two sons to play ball together, they're gonna go play in Lithuania.
Prienu Vietvas.
I've heard two things about this. So I've heard that Jonas Valanciunas, actors and of Lithuanian descent, has come out and said that that's actually a pretty good league. It's a good opportunity for the kids to develop their skills.
Yeah.
Heard, I think it was on Around the Horn today. They're talking about how it's a gym and their coach just got ejected from a game and the players didn't finish the game, so they forfeited. The Ball, big baller brand, LeVar Ball, the Ball brothers, they're bigger than life. They were probably playing in front of more people at Chino Hills.
Yeah, and
in California.
I mean, just everything that we've seen from them, but from the dad, from the way that he's coached or whatever. Like, is he going to try to like go over there and coach the Lithuanian team? Be coached by the Lithuanian coach who probably makes way less than they do for their Facebook show.
Right. Other than Lonzo, who is actually decent at basketball, that's still yet to be seen. Honestly, he might be a little too much hype too.
I think he's good. I think this is another situation where I'm like, let's pump the brakes on like seeing whether or not we think he's all that great or not. The kid's, I mean, he's pretty young. He's gotten a couple of triple doubles, which like you can't just do if you're like a scrub. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
He's not a great scorer. He needs to work on his scoring. He needs to work on his shooting. He has an awkward shot. I don't have any idea how good
LiAngelo, I don't think is that good. I don't think he would have even played for UCLA that much.
Probably not.
And so the thing that we have seen here with LeVar Ball now is pulled LaMelo off Chino Hills' team because he didn't like how that coach was coaching.
Right.
And with LiAngelo because he got caught shoplifting, so he got suspended by the team. But he kind of pulled his son out of school like, oh, well, if my son's going to be suspended, then I'm just getting him out of here.
Yeah. He's very much like, it's my way or the highway. Like, oh, you're going to suspend my kid? Fine, then he's not playing for the NCAA. And also, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and make ineligible for life.
So this has to work. I mean, if their goal is to get to the NBA, they're going to have to go and, well, yeah, we'll see. Is LeVar Ball going to try and tell this Lithuanian guy how to coach?
I don't know.
And the thing I heard about this Lithuanian team is right now some of the players aren't practicing as much as the coach would like them to because they don't feel they're either not getting paid enough or they're just not getting paid. Just aren't coming.
Well, they're definitely, I can tell you that the Balls they did not sign this contract because of
the paycheck.
They're rumored to be earning about $500 per game per person.
Nothing.
Right. For a professional player.
Right, but LaMelo himself, that 17-year-old kid, I don't know how he's worth money. Maybe not like physical cash, but
but they as a whole, the big baller brand.
It's a whole marketing scheme. LeVar Ball may be straying kind of in a weird direction for sure is financially this basketball
No,
move.
no, definitely not. And it's unconventional, so a lot of people look at it and say that it's the wrong thing to do, but it's unconventional. That's
right.
why. You know, I don't know if it's good. Like, what if
LeVar Ball is?
Right. And what if LaMelo's done anything in college anyways? Then what is the point? Then you're just going through a system because that's the only way to do it when you know that you just want to play basketball anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people will look at it as bad. I don't think it's necessarily bad. We'll see how it is. It's just unconventional.
Yeah.
And LeVar's very loud and boisterous, so he just exacerbates what you think is bad.
Right.
So if you think it's bad, it's way worse with him attached to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
on some big South Florida news this weekend. Giancarlo Stanton. He might go back to Mike now in New York because he was Mike before he got to Miami. Changed it to Giancarlo to kind of fit in.
He said he wanted to with his family. I think he said that he just wanted to honor his real name or something like that. Like,
okay. But anyways,
Giancarlo's necessarily like Miami Latin name.
It's a huge jump though from Mike to Giancarlo.
It's short for Giancarlo.
Giancarlo is short for Mike.
Mike is short for Giancarlo. But,
well, I don't find any other common letters.
Yeah, well, they're all silent.
There's an I in there somewhere.
It's okay. Yeah.
So, but the news, other than his name, is that, like I said, in New York, wearing Yankee pinstripes, kind of something shady with Derek Jeter shipping Stanton.
Feels really shady, and I'll have to go to you if we had Manny here, more of a baseball expert, obviously, than I am. Like, he could tell me whether or not this seems like a legit deal. But so they got Giancarlo Stanton, they got Starlin Castro, baseball players, and negative $30 million.
No,
is that a good deal?
No, I've heard that it's not a good deal.
A lot of people have said that it's hogwash. It's a robbery.
What is more shady than just the actual trade of Stanton is the fact that prior to the trade said, if you don't waive your no trade clause, we're just going to strip this whole team down and you're going to be playing with.
Started doing it.
And they started doing it. They traded D. Gordon, which, you know, maybe that was like, watch us do this. And after you trade D. Gordon, Stanton, maybe like, all right, try and get D. Gordon back. No, they're not going. They're just unloading salary because
that's what they were doing
because they don't make any money and Jeffrey Laura wasn't paying Stanton any money. I don't know how much money he was losing. The team was not actually bringing in money in ticket sales and stuff like that. So Stanton, he was only paying Stanton $10 million. Now it's going to kick in where
the inflators of the contract.
He's going to start getting 35 a year. And so if you're Derek Jeter, you're like, I can't pay you that if we're not just going to hemorrhage money.
Right.
So business wise, you have to, bring, and that's what they're doing. They're stripping. They're doing a fire sale, which Browns fans are very much used to.
Still not happy about,
although probably very tired of it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with the move. I think that it's something that probably had to be done, especially if, look, on this sort of payroll that they're trying to do, like, that's not feasible. You're not going to be able to win like that. You're not going to be able to sign anybody like that trying to stay under there. You know what I mean? Like, not for a new ownership group. They've got to, you really have to strip it down and start over again. But the way that they handled it, and it seemed like Giancarlo, when he was at the press conference, was sort of like relieved to be out of Miami. You know what I mean? Like, he thanked all the fans and he was very gracious and everything, but like, it just seemed like it was such a disaster from being with Loria, and then all of a sudden the Jeter ownership group comes in. Everybody, they're going to make him a Marlin for life, they said. They said, oh, okay, well, you're going to accept the trade to either the San Francisco Giants or the St. Louis Cardinals. And he's like, no. And they're like, fine. Then you just stay here forever. Yeah. Like, talking about.
Yeah.
You just want me to be miserable and go live in St. Louis? Like, that's the kind of relationship that we have here. Couldn't, like, talk to him. Any sort of relationship where you guys come to some sort of agreement. And why did you have to do it right now? The baseball season hasn't even started yet. The trade deadline is nowhere near anywhere. Like,
I would have got way more value for him.
If you get a team that loses somebody like a slugger and they need somebody, you know what I mean? And they're trying to make a run.
And then it's a much easier on a trade. Like, hey, look, I'm trading you to a playoff contender.
Hey, look, I mean, we're the Marlins, so we're doing bad anyways, which we definitely are. Now we can sell.
Yeah, I didn't consider that, that they didn't really have to trade him right now. But if you're Jeter coming in and you're like, look, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to trade him. Why let it prolong? What are you going to do? Play 75 games knowing you're going to be traded any minute?
And if he gets hurt, then you
lose value.
Yeah.
But could there have been any kind of like coming to an agreement?
Yeah.
In the bottom line, he had to go. They weren't going to continue to pay him.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, he called their bluff. He was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to sign. I'm not going to waive my no trade clause to go to San Francisco. I'm not going to do it. And then, what was it? A day later, they're like, okay, fine, you're a Yankee.
Fine, you're a Yankee. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reserve there.
And Giancarlo Stanton, if you look at him and Aaron Judge next to each other, like they could be like brothers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I know that his like kind of slower brother.
You know, maybe it looks a little bit slower. We're not sure. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen his LSAT scores.
I haven't. Like I'm gonna see a birth certificate because it'd be like 38.
Maybe. A little bit. So this isn't actually the play or any of the current players. Former players, most notably Heath Evans. Evans and several NFL Network employees, which include Marshall Faulk, Ike Taylor, who else? Warren Sapp, Donovan McNabb, who was an executive producer on the NFL Network, have all been suspended for claims of sexual harassment.
Oh, wow.
Blockhead Heath Evans sexually harassing people. Could you ever imagine that?
No.
Okay, so there was a wardrobe stylist. Let me see if I can find her name here. Enter. Former wardrobe stylist claims that these guys were making extremely lewd, sexually explicit advances towards her while she was at work, working at the NFL Network. Several of them sent nudes. Taylor sent in the shower, cranking it. Heath Evans propositioned her for sex on several occasions. Times, multiple days. He also sent her nudes. Like, basically, these people, Marshall Faulk groped her breasts, her butt, all, and tried to get her to perform oral sex against her will.
Oh my God.
Like, so these people were terrorizing this poor wardrobe person.
Oh my God. That's
so she
just the image, the visual of that, like pants and pinning a woman to the wall.
I mean, but like with everything that's been happening in Hollywood, with all of everything that's happening, it's insanity that, like, and I've talked about this with my friends, like, I don't behaves like this. At least I don't think so.
What I mean? It's a star thing. It's a fame thing, I guess, when you just think you can talk to anyone any way you want.
That's insanity to me. Like, it's just it's beyond my wildest imagination that I would grab a human being and like pin up against the wall.
You are going to perform.
You stand over there, watch me crank it. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
here's
and what
this
is
video I'm gonna send to you that is now like this is on your phone.
Yeah,
yeah.
So they've been suspended indefinitely.
What is NFL Network doing? It's just Hansen just for every single hour of the day talking football.
I don't know. I didn't tune in today to see what it was. But yeah, basically the whole panel of experts.
It's just Rich Eisen and Scott Hansen just talk for 24 hours.
But who was it? So Donovan McNabb and who was it? There was somebody else. I forget.
Donovan McNabb's like a freelancer. He does ESPN spots
doing ESPN stuff
and Fox Sports spots.
So ESPN has said, okay, I guess we got to suspend you too. So they're all suspended. What brought all of it out is she filed a whole termination lawsuit against them, and it named all of the like sexual harassment. Apparently, like I think she might have told them to stop doing it, and then they fired her. HR and they fired her or something like that. So the court documents got released, and it has all of that information in there.
Wow.
So it's allegations. That's why they suspend him indefinitely, so that they can see everything that's happening. I'm sure there's going to be, at some point, I believe. But hey, guys,
yeah, it's super creepy, man.
it's crazy.
Like, literally, now that you told me that story about Marshall Falk, I didn't think about him the same way.
Yeah.
Like, he just would pin a woman up to a wall, like, proposition, like you said, for it. It's another thing to just, like, drop your pants. Here you go.
We're doing this now.
Get to work.
Yeah, we're doing this now. You're doing this now.
That's amazing.
And
he
not too shocking.
And Warren Sapp is not very shocking. He's got that. Yeah, he's got a reputation.
Yeah. I saw Warren Sapp at the UCF game on Black Friday. He was riding a little scooter.
Did he have awful breath? Could you smell it from where you were?
He had a giant dip in his mouth, and he was riding a scooter. But he looked like he lost about 100 pounds. So I don't know if he's eating his memorabilia or.
Speaking of dip and Warren Sapp and being kind of a bad person, I heard Chris Sims on today, and he was telling a story that when he was with the Buccaneers, he would be like he would be expected by Warren Sapp skull, and Warren Sapp would ask him for it sometimes, and if he didn't have it, like, that was bad for Chris Sims.
Yeah, he would beat him up.
Yeah. So that's your TV. That's your NFL Network face of NFL, not the face of NFL One Network, but
basically all the panelists, or a lot of them.
Yeah, they're all ex-NFL greats, and they're all.
Nothing except for be a giant blockhead idiot.
Okay.
In case you can't tell, I don't really like Heath Evans all that much.
Before we go to break, or should we wrap it up after the break?
Let's go to break.
Okay. Okay, welcome back to. We are going to get into Simple Jack. Before we do that, I'll let you know that Simple Jack is brought to you by BeastDFS.com, your one-stop shop for daily fantasy analytics. The BeastDFS contains critical, valuable, and insightful information necessary when creating daily fantasy lineups in NFL and NBA. Go to BeastDFS.com and download your copy of The Beast Jr. for free today. BeastDFS.com. Doing a lot of NBA stuff right now.
Yes.
So I know that he puts out his lineup, and it's pretty successful.
Yeah. So we provide analytics to try to help with your success, and we've made a decent amount of money using his procedures. So if you go to beastdfs.com, if you want to check out BeastDFS on Twitter, he tweets out stuff all the time. BeastDFS, basically, that's where it's at.
you can have heaven. I'll see you tonight when I go to bed in my head movies. But this head movie, Oz Rain.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
That is right, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of those all-time favorite segment. Gugino?
Never heard of her.
Have you ever seen Sin City? Have you ever seen Son-in-Law? Ever seen The Watchmen?
Yes.
Okay, it's the one of those the blonde lady that's the superhero that has the kid that's the superhero, like
Okay.
Sally Jupiter or whatever her name is.
Okay.
She's a very nice looking woman. Easy
Okay.
on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes. Heard.
So this week's Simple Jack comes to us courtesy of the Sarasota Herald Tribune. County Sheriff's Office say a 21-year-old Palmetto man was arrested last week for drunk driving when deputies witnessed him doing donuts in the road. Allegedly fled the scene of a crash following a domestic incident, and when deputies responded and attempted to pull him over, he began doing donuts around their cars.
That's one of the better tactics to avoid cops, I've heard.
After a brief pursuit and more donuts, police disabled his car after throwing 3 sets of stop sticks at separate, instances, and he was placed under arrest. Rapson was charged with DUI and fleeing the scene of an accident. With something, probably a good idea to just start spinning your car around in the middle of the road.
Well, it's like they said to avoid an alligator is to run in zigzags.
Ah, that's very true.
So I've heard to avoid cops, just do circles and they won't know what to do.
They'll get dizzy and drive away in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and they'll never get close in fear of getting hit by you.
And it's all about, it's a circular, it's the
circle.
equilibrium. You know what I mean?
And it's round.
It's Galileo's perspective.
Right. Yes. Okay. Here
you had something that you wanted to get to specifically.
So this story is very intriguing to me. It has a lot of layers, and it's where America's at right now. So you've seen the video of Keaton Jones. He's the boy that the video went viral. His mom filmed it. He's talking about bullying and he's crying, and a lot of people reached out to him. And
I saw Dana White invited him to come hang out at the UFC in Las Vegas.
So a lot of people reached out to him, and then what happens is the internet gets to work and people start looking up stuff, and people are now talking about how the mom is actually a racist, and there's multiple pictures on there's multiple pictures on her Facebook of like they have Southern flags, Confederate flags, and also this came out today too that the kids that might have been bullying Keaton Jones may have been doing it because he was calling them the N-word.
Oh boy!
So that was one thing that happened. At first, it's like, okay, of course, people are gonna kind of. Everyone, not everyone is going to be on this kid's side.
Right.
There's always the cynical side who is going to find trash on these people.
Well, I mean, but even I could say even without being cynical, like if that's true, then it's kind of an issue.
Right. And but here's the worst part. So fine, there's a back and forth.
And there was a GoFundMe that's like $55,000 or something.
Right. So he's getting bullied. Everyone feels bad for him. And then you have the side that's like, well, his mom's a racist and
he's the bully.
And he's being racist towards the kids at school. Also, so now you mentioned the GoFundMe. One thing I heard that really irked me was you mentioned Dana White, another Bellator fighter, put out a video saying he reached out to Kimberly Jones, is the mom. He reached out and said, look, I want to bring Keaton and a couple of his friends out to LA to watch some fights, hang out, meet the fighters. And she's like, no, we just want money.
Oh no.
And so the fighter was like she's like, well, I'm a single mom and Christmas is coming up. And he's like, that's sad. So the story is getting very interesting. And not that she meant for it to be a marketing thing, but I think once one did start a GoFundMe and it started gaining steam, she was like, "Oh wow, like
This is an opportunity.
yeah." So it's pretty crazy story.
I feel like,
and it's like it's a miracle all in one story where you have the kid getting bullied and the video goes viral because that's what happens in America.
Mhm.
Videos go viral. So you have the kid getting bullied and he's crying and that video goes viral. You have the internet always wants to search for people, and so now the moms are racist, and now they just want cash, and oh my god, this story got fast.
I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest.
It's America.
I don't know a whole lot. They're potentially electing a pedophile in Alabama today.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's quite interesting how like 3 days ago this kid was just everyone was
a lot of people doing like video responses or like retweeting his video, doing their own little like Instagram posts. Like I think I saw Cardi B, I saw obviously Dana White, like several other athletes and high profile people.
Right. So yeah, I mean the outpouring was crazy.
And so now
oh how the turntables.
Right. And so are people, is like the backlash, is there backlash coming from people with big names now, or is it just like sort of like finding out her Facebook profile or something?
Right, her
like
Facebook profile is just starting to get out there. Also, the story that he may have been calling the other kids the N-word.
Yeah.
That's starting to get out there. But yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of the only thing that I've seen is that one MMA fighter talking about how he reached out to the mom and she just wanted cash. So that's not cool. I mean, even like because they're in Tennessee, Titans like offered like one of their offensive linemen as security. Everyone's reaching out to this kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and the GoFundMe did get halted with like 58 grand in it.
Well, we'll just have to stay tuned and see where that.
We'll see where that's at.
Where that ends up.
We'll see where that ends up. We'll see what's up next week. To end the show,
while we were gone, on our little hiatus there for a couple of weeks,
the NCAA football regular season and the college football playoff is set. 1 Clemson, Oklahoma.
Yes.
3 for Bama. So the first round is Clemson versus Bama.
Yes.
And Georgia, Oklahoma. I think they got it right. There's definitely Ohio State's is legitimate. I think pretty much what every analyst has said, and it makes sense to me. You can't lose by 33 to Iowa. Alabama only lost 1 game to a team that played in the SEC championship. Georgia only has 1 loss. There's a lot of good teams in the SEC. 2 of them only have 1 loss. Only one of them can win the conference.
Yeah.
So it's not like Bama got in and the SEC champ didn't. Got in, then Bama got in. No one else from the Big Ten is in. So kind of a down year. I mean, Wisconsin undefeated to get in.
Yeah.
Like they with 1 loss, granted they didn't win their division. I mean, they didn't win their conference. But they weren't getting any love until they were undefeated. It wasn't until they were undefeated and championship that they finally got into like the top 6.
Right. I think in the end, the best 4 teams. I think that it's a flawed system. I don't think that you can. Like a lot of the big thing was conference championship. You have to play a conference championship if you want to try to like get in there for the title game, like because that's the strength of schedule. Everybody's got a conference championship, and then now it's like less weight is placed on the conference championship because Alabama didn't even play for one. And I understand they lost to Auburn. Like I get it. And Ohio State had 2 losses, right? To Iowa.
One of them was to Oklahoma,
who is in there, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But I just feel like the system is flawed. We need to expand it beyond 4 teams. Understand? I get it. Well, then there's going to be the 9th team or whatever. But I just don't understand how extending it to 1 more game per team. You can say fine. That way, we'll take the Power Conference 5, which I still also have a problem with, and I'm going to get into that as well. But we'll take the Power 5, large bids, which will include some of the Group 6 conference winners or stuff like that. You have the Power 5 conference winners. You got to win your conference. You got to get in. Then we'll have room. You know what I mean?
Undefeated UCF.
Exactly. So that's the point that I was getting to. So at the number one offense in the country for the American Athletic Conference, 12-0, the highest that they got.
Right.
They didn't even move.
So non-Power 5, we can't have more than one. There's never going to be two that are deserving.
No.
Last year it could have been Houston. This year UFC. One loss or less. Got to win your conference, and you got to have a real impressive resume.
Yeah, but like, how much better could UCF do in this 4 playoff system to ever potentially get there? They can't.
No, they can't. They can't.
It
has to go to 8.
I don't think that's not the reason. Nebraska
D2
came calling for him. They gave him a lot of money. They have a lot more resources. He's from there. It's his dream job. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? That's why he left. But it also had to weigh on him a little bit. Like, look, I can't win anything. I can't go any further. This is the literal best that I can do is what I just did. I cannot do better.
Yeah. Cool.
And I'm biased. I went to UCF, so you know what I mean. That's why I'm making the argument for this. But I still think it makes sense.
Right. No, it makes sense to go to 8. You look at the FCS has a tournament.
Right.
Division I basketball, Division I baseball. They've all got tournaments.
Right. Let's expand it a little bit. Let's be a little bit more inclusive.
I do think that the committee.
And that's what I prefaced my rant by saying. I think that they got the best 4 teams. If we're talking about the teams that have the best potential to win a national title, I think that they got it right, as much as I hate to admit it.
So,
but in Alabama, at least one of them is going to be out.
Right. I like that they're a first-round matchup.
Yeah.
So get
one of them out of here.
Get one of them out of here, and then we'll potentially have a new champion.
Yes, we won't get stuck with one of them.
Listening to The Couch on 247miami.tv and on YouTube. You can find the links at TheCouch_Miami on Twitter. We got to go.
Peace out.